सही समय है विचारों का मैदान बोल दिखाओ अपनी भाषा में सब है तैयार राइट और रॉन्ग में क्या डिफरेंस है दे दो अपना ज्ञान let everyone around you know what it's time for
New India Junction is an online YouTube channel that acts as a conversation channel between the change makers of today and the leaders of tomorrow. We are supported by Viewcraft Digital Foundation, a think tank in public policy. The two popular programs of this channel with more than 1 lakh subscribers are Real Story, hosted by Richa Anirudh, a renowned journalist of Zindagi with Richa fame, and the New India Junction broadcast, Another Pearl in a Bag, which has hosted pioneers like Vikram Sampath, Sanjeev Sanyal, Shamika Ravi, and RJ Ronak. The New India Debates is a new property of New India Junction that is creating a platform for the youth to debate and brainstorm ideas on nation building. This 20-episode series will be shot across campuses in India and will finally culminate in a national championship hosted in Delhi in the first week of November. Now let's have a brief video presentation on Digital India.
यही समय सही समय यही समय है सही समय यही समय है सही समय है विचारों का मैदान बोल दिखाओ अपनी भाषा में सब है तैयार राइट और रॉन्ग में क्या डिफरेंस है दे दो अपना ज्ञान let everyone around you know what it's time for सही समय है
अंग्रेजों की परंपरा की बदौलत सरकार और जनता के बीच में एक भरोसे की बहुत बड़ी खाई थी और इसलिए समय की मांग थी कि सामान्य मानवी की जिंदगी में से सरकार कम होती चली जा रही सरकार हटती जा रही मिनिमम गवर्नमेंट मैक्सिमम गवर्नेंस
1st July 2015 the country saw a dream.
I dream of a digital India where high-speed digital highways unite the nation. I dream of a digital India where government is open and governance is transparent. I dream of a digital India where the world looks to India for the next big idea.
A very good afternoon to one and all present. How are we feeling today? What better day than today to actually talk about the wins of the Digital India movement that we are celebrating here today. I'm sure all of you must know that today we are celebrating the 9th anniversary of the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. And as per recent figures, I mean, it's simply astounding. But we have 50 crore people who have joined the formal banking sector with a surplus of 2 lakh crores that have now been deposited in the bank. Is this not real impact that we're talking about today? So with this, now let's move to the debate. Can I please invite the lovely student debaters joining us from the university? Can we have a round of applause for our debaters, please? Welfare programs serve as a cornerstone in building inclusive societies that prioritize the well-being of all citizens. At the same time, while the concept of providing freebies may initially seem compassionate, the long-term consequences of unrestricted handouts can be detrimental to the fabric of societies. Majority of political leaders commonly vouch for the use of freebies to support the poor and the needy, to reduce and bridge gaps in their access to health, education, and better infrastructure facilities. It is claimed that people's lives are happier and prosperous due to freebies. However, have we given enough thought to identify the real issues that may crop up because of freebies? Welfare is productive, but freebies are a sinkhole, like a parasite, sucking the developmental budget, turning a surplus budget into a deficit one, and turning a healthy economy into a sick one. Something that has the potential of turning the India of today into an India that had to mortgage its gold. We're living in a democracy where governments are duty-bound to empower people through timely information and deliver with solutions that meets their expectations. Is this the right time that now our election manifestos also present ways and means to fund those freebies? With this, I would like to share the debate topic of today: welfare integrates and freebies destroy societies. The first segment of the debate will have the opening remarks by both teams and all four speakers. Firstly, I would like to invite our speakers going for the motion to put forth their opening arguments. Over to you, Ayush.
Namaste, a very good afternoon to respected judges, worthy opponents and members of the House. Let us take a moment to try and appreciate that what a privilege it is for us to stand here at the crossroads where history and modernity converge. It has been over 76 years since India got its hard-earned freedom. And today, in a free nation, we gather here to discuss a topic that has echoed through ages, which is welfare integrates and freebies destroy societies. As we embark on this journey, we shall try and understand why I firmly advocate for this motion. Now cast your minds back to 1947, a time of yearning and suffering for our nation. India's per capita income stood at a meager 230 Indian rupees. Poverty and challenges were the reality of the day. Fast forward to today, and we witness India's transformational journey into becoming a global economic powerhouse. So here's a question to ponder upon. Was this metamorphosis fueled by the embrace of welfare, or was it merely the allure of free offerings that played a more significant role? At the heart of our discussion lies the term freebies, and it demands clarification. It has no clear boundaries, but we shall try and understand by looking at some use cases. So members of the House, would you call it a freebie if we distribute free electricity to everybody? Or, in terms of our Honorable Prime Minister, a revdi? As a nation that stands confidently on its feet today, we do not need revdis of any kind. As a nation which has expounded the concept of dharma, which means duty, we do not need revdis of any kind. Certainly, the country requires quality healthcare and education, but to provide everything free is a disastrous decision, to say the least. Urea, for instance, it is highly subsidized, so much so that of 1/3 of the world's price. It sounds good in theory, but this means that the farmers use more of it and less of other potash and phosphate based fertilizers. The RBI's report of 2022 is clear, and it exposes the financial pressures that stems from these subsidy norms. A telling example is of Telangana, where the government allocated a staggering 25.63% of its expenditure merely on freebies. So you must have heard the famous fiscal wisdom: spend only what you can earn. Members of the House, the Representation of People Act 1951 ensures free and fair elections, safeguards our democratic fabric, but these electoral freebies distort this fairness. They manipulate people, they manipulate voters, and they manipulate decisions. In this arena, the power-driven agendas of political parties takes a precedence over nation's economic well-being. Thank you and namaste.
Thank you very much, Ayush. Can we have another round of applause? Now we move to our second speaker for the motion. Can we please have Tanushri?
Namaste, honorable judges, my worthy opponents and members of the House. I'm Tanushri Bhatt, going for the motion. So, as we all heard that my fellow speaker just dwelled into the pitfalls of freebies, I would like to continue by pointing out that we must consider the perils of providing free products to the people. Members of the House, remember, the pursuit of victory must not come at the expense of our economic vitality. And that is why it is very important to make a fine line between legitimate welfare spending and the pre-opportunistic allure of freebies. Yes, with an exception of providing essential services during the times of natural disasters. Now, members of the House, if we look at our world's tapestry, then Scandinavia's transformation stands out the most. Let's consider the example of this country called Sweden. A country once grappling with poverty now stands as a beacon of inclusive development. Can we just think how was it possible? It was all thanks to their welfare-driven programs and policies. And in contrast, if we compare this to the stories of Zimbabwe and Venezuela, where obviously freebies took the lead, what was the result? The nations were plunged towards an economic turmoil, and it was all due to their reckless land redistribution policies, which resulted in economic collapse, and there was food scarcity as well as the widespread unemployment. Now, members of the House, one compelling evidence to my previously said statement lies within our own nation, India. We all have witnessed the transformation of Kerala over the years. And again, I ask you to think how it have been possible. It was all due to their amazing social welfare programs that were launched by the government, and it actually showed a wonderful performance by raising the social indices as well as the Human Development Index. So in conclusion, I would like to say that the message still resounds that welfare integrates while freebies fragment. And our motion encapsulates this understanding that the prosperity flourishes only when comprehensive development surpasses fleeting appeasements. And if we talk about welfare, then welfare plants the seed of strength, resilience and shared prosperity. It rises above short-term gains while ensuring the long-lasting societal growth. So let us embrace this insight and pave the way for a future where welfare leads us to the new horizons of integration. So with this, I would like to rest my case for the motion. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Tanushree. I think the team going for the motion has set a very strong case for their side. Now let's invite the other side to put forth their case. So if we could have Devansh, please.
All of us do not have equal talent, but all of us should have an equal opportunity to develop our talent. Well, this was rightly said by John F. Kennedy. A very pleasant afternoon, respected judges, my worthy opponents and members of the House. Today I, Devansh Kaushik from School of Law, stand here to address the issues regarding the usage of freebies in our nation. So the first question that comes in my head is, exactly what is a freebie? Well, the very essence of a freebie is a delightful offering that is generously granted without any cost. So picture this in a statement from Reserve Bank of India that reverberated across the land in the June of 2022. Breathed life into the very term freebie by stating it as a gesture of public benevolence bestowing gratuities. And that is not it. They went on to differentiate between these free treasures and the wealthy crown jewels of public or merit goods like infrastructure, healthcare and education, which of course reaps grander and lasting rewards for the realm. Yet the only conclusion that we were able to reach was that we need to tread cautiously, for the line between these virtuous goods and beguiling allure of non-minute splendors remains a riddle of Herculean proportions. So while my esteemed colleagues have expounded on the negative concerns regarding the use of freebies, it is my intention to offer a more nuanced perspective that focuses on the positive impact freebies can have, especially for the underprivileged ones. Members of the House, it goes without saying that for any nation to develop a profound harmony between the government and the citizens, the government has to be elected democratically by the will of the people. And that is where what my fellow opponents said, freebies, comes into play. It is actually shown that government freebies can increase public trust and satisfaction with the government. Why? Simply because they show the accountability the government has towards its people. It is not only that, it goes on to also show that people can turn out during the election if we are giving them the rewards that they actually require and what they can use for their productivity. It can also go on to become a medium of communication and dialogue between the government and the citizens that not only increases transparency but uplifts the very spirit of the democracy in our nation. I would like to remind everyone of the fact that economy plays a vital role in the development and upliftment of the standard of living in any nation. And according to the World Bank reports, sometimes government freebies can actually boost the economy in any nation. How? By simply increasing the workforce productivity, especially in the underdeveloped zone for the underprivileged people. I would also like to emphasize on the fact that government freebies have the potential to not only increase the economy but also ensure that the people are getting what they truly deserve. Often what we refer as government freebies like bicycles, laptops and sewing machines are actually the ones that infuses the working class with the tools of empowerment. A bicycle converts into a ride towards self-resilience for millions of girls in West Bengal and Bihar, which not only shows increase in enrollment rates, but it also serves as a testament to the metamorphosis that freebies can ignite. So the question remains at large. Are freebies just mere objects? Well, I don't think so. What they are, what they truly are catalysts of upward and upward mobility only. With this, I rest my motion. Thank you and namaste.
Thank you very much, Ayush. Now for the fourth speaker of the debate, Ms. Anusha, over to you.
Members of the House, respected jury, and my worthy opponents, Namaste. I would like to highlight a study by World Bank, which has estimated that free food subsidies under the public distribution system has reduced the poverty ratio in India by 7% in 2011-12, which is a clear indication of how it has benefited our economy. Truly, agriculture is an indelible part of our country. 58% of the total Indian population earns its livelihood from it, deeming to be a state subject. The another arena is industries. Finance Ministry had no qualms about writing off the massive bad debts. The Public Account Committee of Parliament has estimated that public sector banks termed as non-performing assets sums up to 6.8 lakh crore. And out of this, 70% are of corporates, while farmers makes just 1%. In the backdrop of this financial story is a world where financial industries find leniency and farmers faces the ultimate challenges. In the grand tapestry of democracy, there's a world. These are not the mere handouts, but the instruments of empowerment and bridges to a more inclusive society. In a country like India, where unequal talent abound, it is our collective responsibility to ensure that each and every citizen should have an equal opportunity to develop their talents by bridging the gap between privilege and need. Right? I think that's perfectly all right when people work for the betterment. And through this, we uphold the very essence of democracy. Government freebies, when implemented with prudence, serves as the tangible symbol of the government's commitment towards its people. So, when these are implemented in a proper manner, they work for the welfare of the citizens. These are not the fruits of benevolence, but the seeds of progress. So as we continue to debate the merits and pitfalls of freebies, let us strive for a society where equal talent should meet our citizens, where the harmonious symphony of governance and citizenry is composed by the will of the people, and where the notion of freebies is not one of extravaganza, but one of empowerment, equity, and progress. With this, I'd like to rest my case. Thank you. Namaste.
I'm sure the audience resonates similar feelings as me, that this debate is surely going to be neck to neck. With this, we move to the second segment of the debate, which is going to be the rebuttals round. Well, after all, what is a debate without us speakers taking each other's arguments head on, inviting both teams to present their rebuttals to set their winning cases. For the team first going for the motion.
So, as my opponent mentioned, you mentioned about freebies increasing social cohesion and reducing inequalities in society. But let's say if government provides freebies to a specific set of people or to a specific set of audience, is it not increasing a sort of difference in social classes and gaps? And how do you defend that? People see that some people are being provided freebies, but others are not. So whether or not the people who are not being provided, they deserve it or not, they see it in a way that it's a sort of a divide between, it's a sort of a mental divide between the classes. How do you defend that?
So let's put it like this. when we talk about the inequality that might arise because of the use of freebies, it's pretty much the same in the cases of welfare, because if a welfare scheme is not implemented in the correct manner, people would eventually start to notice the differences that are going out in the society. And the problem is, when we think about freebies, we consider it like this, that freebies are evil, they are a taboo, they should not exist in the first place. Why? Because they're free, right? But that is not the case. The right approach in this scenario is how we can ensure that the freebies are actually being delivered to the people that actually need them. So the question is not this, that whether we should use freebies or not. The question is how we can ensure of finding or coming up with a way that the freebies and the deliverables are actually being going out to the people that need them.
Wonderful. Can we have the next set of speakers with their rebuttals?
Okay, so ma'am, you just mentioned that if government provide freebies with prudence, then it can be used for the betterment of the people. But my question is, the actual thing that is happening with government, they are not taking in consideration this prudence thing. As we can see in Tamil Nadu, the government was distributing even mixer grinders and the jewelries in the name of freebies, which are not the basic necessities of life. So what is your stance about this?
So in that case, I believe that right approach in implementing anything, be it freebies or welfare scheme, matters. So I'd like to highlight that in 2010-15 in Assam, free sewing machines were distributed, and those free sewing machines were actually used by women for the professional purpose as well. They became financially independent. So they actually helped them in their financial upliftment and women upliftment as well. And it's not just a all-round, you cannot just completely disregard it, because at point welfare schemes have also failed, just like Manrega in 15 states. It has not delivered what it has promised earlier. And I think no compensation have been provided to the people who have been suffered through it. So by and large, what matters is a positive approach in implementation of the policies. And in that case, freebies, if well planned and if well implemented with the proper surveillance, would definitely be a proper upliftment for a society. Thank you.
So at one point in your speech, sir, you went on to mention that how because of freebies the elections are getting disrupted. So my question remains, is it the problem because of the freebies, or is it the problem that the government parties, the parties are making false pretenses and false promises to the citizens? So who is to blame here? Is it the party that is making these false promises, or is it these freebies that can actually help transform someone's life?
Okay. So let's look at it in this manner. Probably some of the parties deliver on their promises of freebies. That too, there is a problem that we don't know how much of the. So we have the example of Telangana, where in the government actually spent around 25% of the expenditure on freebies itself. So even if they do fulfill their promise, it's not just about false promises. It's about, even if they do fulfill their promises, it's more of a worse thing that they fulfill their promises, because then it goes on to destroy the entire economic setup of the state. So in a manner, it's also the problem of political parties, but it's mainly the point that when freebies are being fulfilled, they go on to disrupt the economy of the entire place rather than uplifting it. We have the example of Andhra Pradesh and Punjab, wherein they're highly indebted states and still the freebies exceed 2% of the entire makeup of their expenditure. So in that manner, when freebies are being fulfilled, whether or not by how much, it's a different case, but they actually go on to disrupt the entire economy of the state, of the country, whatever the scale is. So yeah, that's that. Thank you.
When often people say that freebies are inappropriate, right? But freebies have constantly helped in uplifting the marginalized. Just like in 2007, when free cycles were distributed in areas of Bihar and West Bengals, the girls actually used it, and the dropout ratio reduced by 11%. So in that sense, freebies have helped in so many ways. So how can you say that freebies have completely harmed our society, while welfare schemes also have failed in so many ways?
So, as you mentioned that the government freebies actually help the girls, I would like to, you mentioned the word marginalized. I would like to point out this thing. A person coming from a marginalized area does not know what is happening in the economic sector of the country. He doesn't know how the government budget works. He does not has any idea where the shares are going, what is the economy doing of the nation. So if the government is distributing any kind of freebies, but in a reckless manner, then it will look a good thing for a short-term manner, but what happens after the short term? To our audience, I would also like to ask this thing, that if somebody provides you something for a day or a month, you will use it, you will feel happy, but what happens after that? Is there any data regarding that, like what those girls are doing? Fine, they got the bicycle, they went to their schools, but what might have happened after that? We have no clue. So I will say that freebies ensure the short-term growth, but not the long-term welfare of the people. And it should be government's responsibility to not provide reckless freebies to the people, especially coming from the marginalized area, because they do not have the knowledge of how the economy is working. But still, if government provides the well-constructed schemes, then the upliftment and the growth of society is possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much. With this, now we come to the last segment of the debate. Can I please request our attendees to maintain some silence? In the last segment of the debate, I would like to request the teams to finally put forth their concluding points. Right? So as we are running short of time, we are just going to have the concluding stances that are going to be put forth by the team. So can we have one speaker each from the team giving their final concluding stance as a team on the issue? Over to the team going for the motion to give their concluding stance.
Yes. So in conclusion, I would simply like to say it's very, very clear that different statistics, different data across states in our country paints it clear. Whether it is freebies amounting for somewhere between 0.1% to 2.7% of GSDP, gross state domestic product, across states in India, or be it example of Punjab and Andhra Pradesh, highly indebted states having exceeding 2% of their expenditure on freebies. It is clear that freebies disrupt economy in a very major way. In some short term, in some short areas, in some very controlled manner, it is a possibility that we find some short-term gains, but in a very long-term, in a long-term run, in a long-term game, we don't see any sort of a fruitful development of a country, of a nation, and whatever the scale might be. So in conclusion, we would like to say that it's welfare schemes that matter, it's systemic changes that matter, it's proper point-by-point, step-by-step procedure that is followed for implementing anything that matters, and not short-term hikes of freebies. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now for the final concluding remarks from the team going against the motion.
Members of the House, it sometimes brings me pain when we discuss the fact that the question that is always in the picture is whether freebies should be there or not. But in fact, the question should be how we can implement it in the rightful manner. That is the right approach that we should have. And that is the approach that I want to present in front of everyone today. So before I conclude, I would like to cite example of Tamil Nadu, where the midday meal started. And it is one of the best implementation that we have seen in generations in our nation. So I like to just remind everyone, just because if something is free does not mean it's wrong for us. At times it is actually a tool of empowerment. For us, we might not realize it. For us, it's just a laptop. But for someone out there in a village who has the capacity to learn from that laptop, it is the life-changing tool that he or she needs. And in contradiction to what ma'am said, that the underprivileged people don't know what is wrong with the economy, or what is share, or what is the GDP of a nation. So isn't it the wrong picture? Doesn't the right way is to make sure that these people know how our economy works? Isn't that the way we'll ensure that the people are actually getting to know the nation and how they can be part of it in transforming it? Not for just themselves, but for the generations to come. So again, I would like to remind everyone that freebies are not just mere tools that help you in the short term. When you think about it, the bicycles that the girls are using to ride to their school is the very tool that is helping them to change the world around them, and that is not only increasing the literacy rate in the India, but it is also ensuring that the girls are getting equal opportunities just like men out there. In the end, I would just encapsulate by saying, people, member of the house, remember, change your approach towards the use of freebies. Make sure that the freebies are getting delivered to the right people. That is the motto the government should have, and that is the motto that we citizens of India should strive for. Thank you.
Thank you very much to our articulate student debaters. I'm sure every attendee sitting here with me and hearing these wonderful arguments resonates feelings of awe and amazement for the wonderful debate that we have witnessed this afternoon. Can we please have another round of applause? Now, while our judge, Advocate Arnav Mittal, attends to the Herculean task of finalizing the results, I would like to move to the segment all of us have been waiting for, the interaction with our chief guest of this afternoon, Mr. Vijay Shekhar Sharma. Mr. Vijay Shekhar Sharma is an Indian technology entrepreneur who has played an instrumental role in revolutionizing the digital payments and financial services landscape in India. Presenting to you the man of the hour, Mr. Vijay Shekhar Sharma.
First of all, thank you for having me here. It's genuinely something. At the beginning of the debate, I sort of had an opinion by myself, and I must give it to the both teams. It was compelling. So congratulations and acknowledgement to the both sides. They presented such beautiful debate. And I'll give you a little bit of anecdote on my life also, where this movement came. So it's true that there is no doubt about it. There are times when so-called support of freebie ends up becoming the empowerment, and there are times when it becomes a waste. There is no doubt about it that till a particular stage, this is a blessing, and after some time it becomes not necessary or necessity. That's my opinion in a way, because I'm a student of a college or university where my family did not have enough money to get educated, and I think the institute was supported in a freebie way because the education fee was so small, I wouldn't have been here. So I support that. At the same point of time, in my childhood, I wrote a 4-line poem when I was in class 10. A class 10 student. I was 12-year-old, by the way, class 10. So I'm one of those who just skipped early classes. And this poem that I wrote was in Hindi. मैं गरीबी हूँ, मैं तुम्हें चाहती हूँ, मैं तुम्हें छोड़ नहीं सकती क्योंकि तुम मुझे उससे ज़्यादा चाहते हो. And the intention that it said was that sometime we take our pain as our success or obligation to stay in that. In other words, we don't try to break through the ceiling or a border that we are in front of, and instead we are very happy to say, oh, this is what I'm identifying with. So many a times these freebies can become a habit for some people instead of empowerment to some people. So I support it till the time period. It is impeccably well said that it is an empowerment, and I challenge it at a time when it becomes like a more of a handicap, if you will, which is exactly what we do not want in a country which is becoming self-reliant to more and more. So congratulations to both sides. They were very, very well articulated. I have a few slides here. Indian economy from Fazile 5 to the top 5. It is a commitment. It is a commitment that we will not accept unless it is at the top. It is shocking, and I want to share this once again, that it is shocking many a times that you work hard and your government and your people work harder than you work. Their aspirations go higher and harder than you could ambitions-wise look at it. And this is where the opportunity is. It's rare that you would have an individual benchmark of somebody who's a political leader or a leader of a country instead of leader of a company, right? But I totally want to tell you one thing. This is the opportunity for us of a lifetime here, where what we see is that the commitment for India from bottom to the top of the governance, and bottom meaning the last person who's there in the village or any other place where he's not got access to any basic services, is about there is a euphoria and excitement of creating something which makes us the top 5 economy. And I truly believe that जब हम सब बदलेंगे तब देश बदल जाएगा. That is where the This is the key points. This is a fragile 5, and why we call fragile 5. Fragile 5 मतलब जो टूट फूट के गिर जाए. And we used to be part of that economy where basic things were not sorted out. We had to take debts from IMF, and they had to take conditions of business, opening market, and so on. And transition and course correction happened, and now we are the bright spot. Let's see how it happened. So fragile 5 is where high current account deficit, फिजिकल डेफिसिट, फॉरेन डेट. इसका मतलब आपके पास अपने देश में पैसे खर्च करने के लिए नहीं है. और अब हम बाय द वे सरप्लस में चले गए. ये भी एक फनी बात है कि इट इज़ रादर रेयर फॉर अ इकोनॉमी टू फ्रॉम बीइंग अ हाई डेफिसिट इकोनॉमी. जब भी कभी आपके लिए, ओके नाउ आई विल गिव नाउ टुवर्ड्स द फ्रीबीज थिंग. लेट्स थिंक अबाउट इट, दिस रोड, हाईवेज. नाउ द बेस्ट पार्ट इज दैट दे आर बिल्ट for us as citizens, right? Where does this money come from? Because the rich subscribes to the tax and poor gets the benefit of it. Nothing wrong about it, I'd rather say. You should never take more than you can give kind of philosophy. So from there, from a current account deficit and fiscal deficit, meaning that country does not have money, and there were high inflation rates. Now this is important to know. Inflation is like what rate of change of every year prices. This is also interesting that inflation adjusts to the growth. So your growth has to be always going ahead of inflation. Otherwise, the same 100 rupee kept with you will become lesser next year because the prices have increased higher. So higher inflation means that you are now running behind. Your country's citizens are getting poorer faster than they are able to increase their own money and wealth. Now, fragile 5 nations were coined by investment firm Morgan Stanley, and it meant Brazil, India, South Africa, Turkey, Indonesia. Did you see the hint here of BRICS except for Russia? And economic problem, policy paralysis, rating degraded, questions remain how to get out of the fragile 5. And this is a big problem. Now, this is in those days 10%. We were very below par for so many markets. Current account deficits, GDP, very small GDP with a growth. So ये देखो, ग्रोथ 5% है और इन्फ्लेशन 10% है. तो इसका मतलब नेट 5% पीछे जा रहे हैं. हम 5 कदम आगे जाते हैं और 10 कदम पीछे जा रहे हैं. This is the slang maths that you can think about it. And this is from fragile 5 to top 5. This is what happened. This is what happened. I mean, we have the economic growth, as you know, compounding growth. And best part is कि इस सब में पहले दुनिया चाइना को देखा करती थी कि China was the economy that became the back office of the world. I mean, they were manufacturing literally everything, and America built them as a manufacturing capacity for every world. But India did not have a pleasure and honor of becoming like that, just like that. We had to build it for our own self. We just learned how we are farming-led economy. We learned how we are services-led economy. And this is also the case, FDI. FDI is an indication of whether the country is liked by the rest of the world or not. And ये बिल्कुल पानी की तरह से है कि पानी किधर साइड में आएगा जहाँ पे आपके पास भराव का जगह होगा, जहाँ पे सही जगह रखा होगा. So money attracting countries means that a lot of things are correct on those places. The governance, the law and order, the implementation of regulation, the opportunity, business opportunity, and many things, tens of things. ये बिल्कुल ऐसे है कि जब आप कार तेज चला रहे होते हो तो आपको पता है कि सब कुछ सही है. कार में सीट बेल्ट भी लगी हुई है, इंजन भी सही चल रहा है, फ्यूल भी सही है और रोड भी सही है, सब कुछ सही है. तो FDI is the ultimate benchmark of this identifier. That is why it matters. And this is highest ever FDI that we got. And obviously macroeconomic fundamental rate of inflation adjusted now are better than what we've been. So now this is where we are. ये देखो, top 10 economies यहाँ पे हैं. And this is very interesting कि we now have crossed, I mean, अपने जिन लोगों ने हमारे ऊपर राज किया था, जो थोड़े दिन पहले बोल रहे थे कि हमारे कंट्री के पैसे क्यों ले रहे हो, उनको बिल्कुल हमने किक कर दिया है एक स्टैंड नीचे और अब हम आगे जा रहे हैं. And this is what we, after this, will hit the next milestone of hitting the Japan and Germany as the next milestone. And hopefully, before 2047, we should be here toppling and challenging the United States of America. And अब हम फंडामेंटल बात समझते हैं. The foundation of economy is banking. That's a keyword. आपका, हम लोग स्विस को बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग मानते हैं एज अ कंट्री क्योंकि उनकी बैंकिंग स्ट्रॉन्ग है. हमारे जो पुराने रूलर्स थे, उन्होंने लंदन में बैंकिंग को कंट्रोल कर रखा, उन्होंने पैसे को कंट्रोल कर रखा. सो पावर ऑफ मनी इज द अल्ट्रा पावर इन द वर्ल्ड. आप किसी दूसरे कंट्री के पास भी जाते हो, एफडीआई का मतलब क्या, किसी के पास पैसा है वही तो आ रहा है आपके पास. सो मनी बिकम्स द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट फाउंडेशन ऑफ एवरीथिंग. हम करेंगे क्या, उससे पहले हमारे पास है क्या. इन अदर वर्ड्स, फाइनेंशियल सिस्टम रिफॉर्म. सो बैंकिंग रिफॉर्म, what has happened in this country, I really want to tell you all, is revolutionary everywhere in the world. It has never happened. जनधन अकाउंट जो खुले, उसके बाद मतलब मैं तो अपने आप को एक प्रिविलेज मानता हूँ कि एक अपॉर्चुनिटी मिली कि छोटी दुकान को कैसे पेमेंट दिलवाया जाए. आपको कैसे लगता है जीडीपी बढ़ती है, पैसे कैसे बनते हैं, जीडीपी कैसे बढ़ती है. जीडीपी इज अ एबिलिटी टू स्पेंड. हाउ विल यू डू इट, हाउ विल यू एक्चुअली ग्रो द इकोनॉमी. सो होता क्या है कि ध्रुव ने मेरे को 100 रुपये दिए और मैंने इसमें से 70 रुपये सर को दे दिए, तो इकोनॉमी में कितने रुपये हो गए, 170 रुपये. बैंक्स पैसा प्रिंट करती हैं. डिड यू नोटिस दिस डिपॉजिटेड मनी ऑफ 100, देयर इज समथिंग कॉल्ड रिजर्व रेशियो एटसेट्रा मैथ. इसका मतलब कि अगर ये पैसा लेने आए तो मेरे पास उतने रिजर्व में पैसे होने चाहिए. I can go as low as 70 and I can go as high as 90 depending on which state the bank is. So taking this 100 rupee deposit and giving 70 rupee makes the economy 170 rupees. This is how GDP grows. The access to credit will create the wealth of economy to the person who is at the tail end of this economy. उसको grant नहीं चाहिए, free भी नहीं चाहिए, उसको पैसा चाहिए. Boss, अपॉर्चुनिटी दे दो करने की, तो हमारे हाथ में शक्ति है और हमारे हाथ में एबिलिटी है. आप हमें पैसा तो दे के देखो, हम आपको लौटा के दे देंगे. एंड दैट इज व्हाट हैपेंस इन दिस. माय फादर, हु इज अ स्कूल टीचर, वुड हैव लॉट ऑफ हिज स्कूल पीपल विल कम, मास्टर साहब पैसा दिलवा दो आपके लड़के से. तो मैं उनको ये बोलता था कि आप ना ये पैसे दे दो, लेकिन उनको ऑब्लिगेशन लगा देना रिटर्न का. नॉट बिकॉज आई नीड दिस मनी, बट बिकॉज दे शुड ऑलवेज नो ये ग्रांट नहीं है. देखो, ग्रांट ना आदत बुरी करती है, क्योंकि लोगों को फिर फिक्र नहीं होती है. और जब आप खुद अर्न करके खर्च करते हो और आपको रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी होती है कि यू हैव टू रिटर्न इट, यू विल बिहेव डिफरेंटली. एंड दैट इज कॉल्ड द क्रेडिट ग्रोथ दैट यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट इट. एंड इन दिस कंट्री वी हैव सीन दिस रिफॉर्म वेयर द बैंक्स यूज्ड टू लूज मनी. जो हम बात करें ना, 6 लाख करोड़ का लॉस है, जिसमें से कृषक को तो कुछ नहीं मिला, फार्मर को तो कुछ नहीं मिला, तो किसको मिला, बड़े आदमी को मिला. तो अब हम उसको कहाँ से, हम उसको चैरिटी माने या उसको हम वेलफेयर माने. द आंसर इज व्हेन द बैंकिंग एंड द फाइनेंशियल सिस्टम सर्व्स फॉर द लास्ट गाय, दैट डे इकोनॉमी ऑफ दिस कंट्री ग्रोज बिगर एंड बेटर एंड बिगर एंड बेटर, बिगर एंड बेटर. दैट इज व्हाट द पर्पज इज. And very clearly, I mean, I can tell you this, that economy has dramatically changed. Whether you talk about resolution, recovery, आपने bankruptcy court देखा, recap, government ने equity invest करा. This is how the financial system is the core financial system of the world. You get it? Once that is strong, we are standing on a strong foundation. That is where it is. Now the bank reforms. अब मैं इसलिए बोलना चाहता हूँ ये बैंक रिफॉर्म आपकी क्लास में क्यों पढ़ाए जा रहे हैं, आप समझ रहे हो. बैंक रिफॉर्म इज अ फाउंडेशन ऑन विच यू आर स्टैंडिंग, बिकॉज द एक्सेस टू मनी डिफाइंस व्हाट इकोनॉमी विल ग्रो. वेदर यू टॉक अबाउट एनपीएज, जिसमें कि कितना पैसा आपको वापस मिलेगा नहीं मिलेगा, वेदर यू टॉक अबाउट मार्केट कैप ऑफ पीएसबी बैंक्स एंड एवरग्रीन लोन, ये सब चीज़ें हैं जिसकी वजह से एक्सेस टू कैपिटल मैटर्स. एंड नाउ फाइनली ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस. नाउ दिस इज इम्पॉर्टेंट. मैं एक बार I went there to request something in Prime Minister's one of those meetings that we were saying कि आप ये हटा दीजिए. तो अब आप लोग इस ऑफिस, इस स्कूल में आते हो, कॉलेज में आते हो, तो आपको लगता होगा बहुत सारी जगह रास्ते में वो रोड ब्लॉक लगते हैं. तो किसी ना किसी कारण से एक टाइम पे तो सही थे वो, कि यहाँ पे ऐसे मान लेते हैं कि बुद्ध इंटरनेशनल सर्किट था तो हमें चाहिए था कि इसको ऐसे बना दें. लेकिन एक टाइम आने के बाद वो क्योंकि वहाँ पे कार रेस नहीं हो रही हैं, सो यू डोंट नीड दैट. Now the hurdles or the restrictions or the obligations or the rules that are created always in a context. And context expires, but rules don't. And this is called ease of doing business. I love it when our Prime Minister told that gathering that every day I make one rule disappear in this country, and that is what makes it ease of doing business that you are seeing here. Removing archaic laws. This is huge. आपको पता होगा जो आईपीसी है, जो पुलिस को कंट्रोल करती है मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ होम के अंतर्गत, दैट वाज रिटन बाय ब्रिटिशर्स अज्यूमिंग दैट यू आर ऑलवेज अ क्रिमिनल, एंड दैट कंटिन्यूड एज इज वेयर इज. होता है ना, सिलेबस पूरा करना है, 1948 में हुआ था वो सिलेबस पूरा. यू नो व्हाट आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट. जल्दी से लिख देते हैं, edges where is लगा देते हैं. No, that needs to be upgraded to the new India that we have today. So whether it is about changing archaic law or taxing, this is very different. And this matters because this is what decides how country goes forward, guys. And then finally, spectacular results. We have seen the exports. Exports mean that if you don't have local countries market, at least somebody is paying you the money. Whether you're talking about education export, as you guys are doing it, you are bringing foreign income in the country. And whether you talk about make in India, India में मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कभी होगी नहीं. ये हमारा ऑलवेज एक मतलब आप लोग हम लोग एक ही तरह के हैं जिन्होंने कभी सोचा ही नहीं होगा कि देखो हम सेवा शुश्रूषा तो कर लेंगे, मतलब सर्विसेज सेक्टर में आ जाएंगे, लेकिन बनाने की बारी आएगी तो हम ऑफिस में भी नहीं आएंगे, फैक्ट्री में भी नहीं आएंगे. बट आई एम वेरी हैप्पी टू टेल यू, कैन यू बिलीव जब स्मार्टफोन, आई एम श्योर यू रिमेंबर द स्मार्टफोन केम 2010, 15, 20. Literally 2015-16, before Make in India was announced, India's 100% smartphones were made outside. Now India's 2/3 smartphones are made in India. Now that is amazing, and actually वो नोएडा एरिया में बन रहे हैं वो. तो मतलब हम लोग देश के स्मार्टफोन बना रहे हैं. That is possible because of the Make in India agenda here that we're talking. So I mean this is an important thing, guys, that we have to do it. So you know it. We are now all whether online. Government तो बहुत ही ज़्यादा savvy online है. इतना तो मतलब प्राइवेट कंपनी नहीं खरीदती ऑनलाइन जितना कि गवर्नमेंट खरीदती है इस टाइम पे. एंड वेदर यू टॉक अबाउट एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप, ये बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग था. 2008 में एक इवेंट है द इंडस एंटरप्रेन्योर, टाई होती है, नेस्कॉम टाई, आपने नाम सुने होंगे. तो उसमें एक क्वेश्चन आया, मैं स्टेज पे आया था, तो मेरे से क्वेश्चन पूछा, विजय कैन यू टेल मी व्हाई इंडिया डज नॉट प्रोड्यूस गूगल और फेसबुक और माइक्रोसॉफ्ट फ्रॉम इंडिया. एंड ये 2008 की बात है. 2008 यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट ईयर वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट. तब तक कोई डिजिटल और एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप नहीं होती थी. तो मैंने उस ऑडियंस से पूछा, मैंने बोला सर आपके ग्रैंड डॉटर के अभी ग्रेजुएट करके आई है वो, और उसके पास 3 जॉब ऑप्शंस हैं. एक है DE शॉ, और एक है इन्फोसिस, और तीसरा है 197 कम्युनिकेशन नोएडा. प्लीज सजेस्ट दैट व्हाट विल बी द प्रेफरेंस ऑफ जॉब दिस पर्सन विल टेक. नो सीक्रेट, DE शॉ फर्स्ट, इन्फोसिस सेकेंड, एंड फूड चेन में अगर बच गया तो हमारे लिए. I said the day when India's talent understands that we are the power who makes other countries rich, instead of going and serving other person, we will serve our country. This country will produce tons of companies, tons of companies. और आज के दिन में मैं ये बताना चाहता हूँ, it takes a leader on the top to say that startup India is a revolution of India. हम ना legitimate हुए. अन्यथा आपको पता नहीं है, जब मैंने कंपनी चालू करी थी, मेरी पड़ोसन के कारण मेरी मम्मी बोलती है, वो पूछ रही थी रिंकू की मम्मी, नौकरी ना लगी लल्ला की जा मारे शायद ने खोल लो अब काम. I'm like, wow, what kind of bullshit. नौकरी ना लगी. So ये जो हीरोगिरी है ना, देखो जब आप चेंज एजेंट बनोगे ना तभी हीरो बनोगे, ये मेरा कहना है आपसे. So here it is, manufacturing is the game, make in India. ये बहुत interesting है. This is happening near you again. We are on the road. And again, incentive आते हैं बनाने के लिए, tax लगेगा नहीं. This is again an opportunity. And digital India, this is my favorite. This is my favorite. This is my favorite. India's future is digital, and India's future will be on infrastructure which is digitally made. आप लोग, हम लोग जितना savvily smartphone को use करते हैं, our country becomes stronger and better. When you use Paytm, you make India stronger. That is what I pitched to my team. This is for UPI payments. As you know, हर जगह पे Paytm, हर जगह पे UPI, हर जगह पे mobile payment. And this is what we have it, New India. Thank you so much, guys.
Okay, so the moment that we have all been waiting for, I would first like to invite the winning team to join us on stage. Any guesses? Okay, sounds like there is an equal representation in the student body. So the winning team is the team that went for the motion. Can we please have the 2 debaters on stage, Ayush and Tanushree? put in a marvelous performance. The team going against the motion, Miss Anusha and Mr. Devansh.
We have with us none other than Mr. Vijay Shekhar Sharma yet again on New India Junction. Welcome to NIJ, sir. What is your take on today's debate?
I must say that when the topic came about, I thought it was a no-brainer. How should it be thought? But impeccable debate, impeccable points put by both sides of teams, and I must congratulate the institute, the university, that they have got really good thought-through students there. So it was very enriching for me.
So, sir, do you think debates like these at this juncture are an important platform for students to come and be part of nation building?
I totally agree with that, because this is the time when we sort of get pre-biased with some things, but having a point of view and a counter point of view and learning what is the correct understanding takes some time to build up. And debates like these bring that perspective to people. So this is correct timing, I would say, especially in India when there are a lot of polarized views of one over other. It is even more important for us as a citizen to understand what kind of debate it is. So it was very well done. Timing.
So, sir, your personal view, freebies for or against?
So I said this there also, that I'm educated from a government institute and the fee of that was funded by them. But at the same point of time, the freebies that I believe that grants that end up becoming do not necessarily solve the purpose that they're supposed to. So there is a need for support, but unlimited freebies is not the solution. So support, which is welfare, is thumbs up, but unlimited freebies, it's like cashbacks, which we have in e-commerce. We finally have to sustain businesses where the businesses support themselves. So it's rather better to have welfare-led policies than a freebie-led technologies.
So quickly, your my last question, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana anniversary today. What do you have to say about this wonderful initiative?
Our country in the world is known for the financial revolution that we've brought in this country. And the foundation of that is actually in Jan Dhan, Aadhaar and mobile trinity that we saw, Jan Trinity that we say, and Jan Dhan accounts. Because everybody has a bank account, everybody has a formal money, that is why economy becomes formal. So it is the foundation day of New India, I would rather say that. So impeccable day, a day that should be marked as the beginning of a formal economy in the country.
All right. Thank you so much for talking to New India Junction, sir. Thank you. So we are with Aradhana Galgotia right now. Welcome to NIJ.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Can you tell us a little bit about how do you see these debates happening? Like today was the first one. Yes. So what do you have to say about it?
So I think it is a great initiative. New India Debates is a great initiative taken by New India Junction. We completely support our Prime Minister Modi ji's vision to empower the youth. He has time and again emphasized on skill development, digital India, make in India, and most importantly to nurture an entire ecosystem of startups. So that's where we come in. As educational institutions, it is our responsibility to provide that platform to our students wherein they can master their art, they can hone their skills, and it is events such as these, whether it's debating or whether it's a moot court or it's an MUN. It is events such as these that help the students to sharpen, enhance, and showcase critical skills such as critical thinking, communication, and most importantly, it helps them ready for the real world challenges. So I think it's very important that events such as these are held at periodic levels, because this really helps the students to mold themselves for the future.
So, can you tell us a little bit about the role that the youth have to play, considering India is at a very crucial phase, like Prime Minister Modi has regularly reiterated in his conversations, that India, these are the years that are going to make or shape India's future. So, what is the role of youth in the country?
So, the role of youth is primary, because it is the youth that is going to be taking the country forward, right? And it is a very holistic role. So it is important as educators to give them every kind of platform so that they're able to make very certain decisions which can help them empower themselves. So for example, the debate, the topic was welfare of freebies. So it is important to make them understand that there are certain choices in life that they will get and to make the right decision. So that is, I think, where we come in and help them mold themselves.
So, my last question to you, the debate topic, welfare versus freebies. What is your take on it?
So I think it is a very interesting topic because there is a big gray area when it comes to welfare or freebies, because of course there are different ideas with respect to when we talk about freebies. There is a talk that it helps the underprivileged and there are a lot of advantages. So what I feel that once if you're able to understand the gray area and the thin line, and we can balance between the two, I think that is the right approach. So that the public is more educated and it's not misused by the political party.
Your quick comments on "Yahi samay hai, sahi samay hai." How do you think the slogan fits today's India?
Yes, I think this is actually the right time because considering the achievement through Chandrayaan and that we've landed at the South Pole of the moon, which has happened first time in history. So this is the right time for a lot of things, and India is escalating, accelerating into new heights. We have just, I think, superseded even UK in being one of the largest economies. So I think this is the right time for a lot of things. So looking forward.
Thank you so much for talking to us.
सही समय है, सही समय है,